Welcome to the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast. My name is Katie Dodd, and I am a nutrition entrepreneur. But here's the catch. I have a full-time traditional dietitian job. My entrepreneurial endeavors are my side hustle. I've been making six figures through my job and side hustle doing things that I love. If I can do it, you can too. This podcast is for dietitians, interns, and students who want to be inspired to start or perfect the side hustle of their dreams. Let's do this. Hello and welcome to the 65th episode of the Dietitian Side Hustle podcast, Content Creation Mistakes. Now today's episode is going to be a little bit different than usual. I'm really excited to be sharing with you guys a snippet from the Dietitian Side Hustle live show. Now if you're not familiar with my live show, I go live in the Dietitian Side Hustle Facebook community every single Monday at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. So this past Monday, gosh, what was the date? Let me look at my calendar. So this was November 29th, 2021. I had one of my business coaches, Javier Carlin, on the live show with me. So it was such a good episode, I wanted to share it with the podcast. So in this episode, Javi talks all about content creation mistakes, but most importantly, how to avoid these mistakes. So we talk for a little bit over 20 minutes and he goes over a lot of gems, a lot of great information. Keep in mind, we are on Facebook, so you'll hear us periodically talking about the comments and, comment below. And that's because we're on Facebook. So, just disregard that piece. If you're like, where do I comment? I'm on a podcast. But if you're watching this on YouTube, you can comment below. You can let us know. So I wanted to share this with you guys, especially because he has a really cool offer that he's offering for next week if you are listening to this live. So Javier and his fiance Marissa, who work together and have an amazing program, are having a challenge next week called the Content to Client Challenge. So this challenge is running December 6th through 10th, 2021. So if you are listening to this past that day and you've missed it, that's okay. You'll still get a lot of great information from this podcast episode. But if you listen to this podcast episode and you're like, oh my gosh, I need to learn more about content creation, how to make amazing content that is going to convert to clients and help me in my business, then you'll definitely want to check out Javi and Marissa's challenge. Again, it is going to be December 6th through 10th. I'm going to put my affiliate link in the show notes. So the cost of the program isn't that much. I think it's like $27, which is a steal because you're going to get 5 days of amazing, information, inspiration, knowledge, and you'll be creating your own content, and it's really going to help you in your side hustle. So let's get on to the episode. Welcome to those who are catching the live and welcome to those who are catching the replay to the Dietitian Side Hustle live show. I come live in the group every Monday at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time. And today I'm so excited because I have a special guest with me. I want to introduce Javier Carlin. Javier is one of my business coaches. Super amazing. We've been working together for over a year now. And, I actually was with him in person just a few weeks ago at Javi and Marissa's first live event. So that was so much fun. I came back so inspired and ready to take action. And so I'm really excited for what I know Javi's going to share with you guys in the next 20 minutes. So we're not going to go super long. We're going to go, 15, 20 minutes. And Javier is going to talk about content and all the things. So I'm really just going to open the floor, Javier, and I'm going to let you talk. And if I think of any questions, I might hop in. And those of you who are live, go ahead and say hello. Let us know you're here. And if you guys think of any questions along the way, just type them in the comments. And I've got my screen up. So hi, Michelle. Thanks for joining us tonight. And also for those who catch this on the replay, always comment replay because I love knowing who's watching these. So comment if you guys have questions and we'll make sure to answer them as we go. So thanks so much for being here, Javier. I'll hand it off to you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me, Katie. It's always an honor. And I just love everything about this group, all these dietitian side hustlers in the house. So good, so good. So I would love to know, for those that are on live right now, I see Michelle. Hey, Michelle, how's it going? If you're jumping on, like Katie said, please say hello in the chat. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I'm definitely going to try and keep this to 20 minutes. I just have so much to share. No, we'll keep it at 20 minutes. I'm known for going a little bit longer than intended, but hey, it is what it is. So as as we're doing this thing, just go ahead and if you have any questions, feel free to comment them down below, and I'll be happy to answer them if we have some time towards the end. So really, I was chatting with Katie, and, we were talking about content and how important content is. And it's something that we talked about actually at the live event. It's, one of the topics that we discussed on the online and offline marketing strategies that are really important for us to fuel business growth. And whether you have a business or a side hustle, and for those of you that are on right now, I'd love to know too, do you currently have a side hustle? Do you have a business? And what is it? Are you a blogger? Do you create courses? Do you do freelance writing? Let me know in the chat. I'm always interested in learning what everyone is doing. So Michelle from New Jersey. Awesome, Michelle. I'm over here in Clearwater. So it's nice to see where you're from. Beautiful. So how many of you have created content before? How many of you love creating content? Yeah. So really, when it comes to creating content and content marketing, we all know it's really important, right? Especially in this day and age, social media, when it comes to growing your business, helping people, serving people, putting your programs, your services, your products out there that can really have a major impact, really on the world at the end of the day. It's really vital for us to put ourselves out there and let people know how we can help them, right? Let people know what solutions are out there that are better solutions, right? Because they're coming from you than what they're currently getting. So it's not just important for us to be able to grow our businesses, grow our side hustles, but it's really important to be able to educate the public, right? Make sure that they're getting the right information so that they live happier, healthier lives. And it's really on us as healthcare professionals to help them with that, right? And, there's a famous quote by Zig Ziglar, if you can get everything in life that you've ever wanted, if you help enough people get what they want. So that's, I feel like, one of the things that we're, meant to be doing for people, especially as healthcare professionals, is helping as many people as possible who are out there with knowledge and the skill sets that we've developed and gained over the years. So really what that all comes down to, if we tie all of that up together, is being able to be in front of as many people as possible, whether it's with our blogs, our live videos, the trainings that we do, right? Social media posts, whatever it looks like for you. It really is our duty and our responsibility to put ourselves out there to help the people that we went into this profession to serve. So, as we're diving into the top 3 content creation mistakes and how to avoid them in just a moment, I want to just share with you a little bit about how I kind of fell onto these mistakes that I really don't want you to make, and hopefully you don't want to make them either, and how this all came about. So, just a few years ago was when I first started getting into business and marketing. I'm a physical therapist by trade, grew a private practice, and we were using content marketing to gain clients, to be able to bring more patients into the practice. And we were, doing other things as well. But one of the things that was pretty frustrating, and I'm not sure how many of you have created content, have put content out there, only to find yourself, posting on hundreds of different platforms, all the platforms, right? Facebook, Instagram, podcasts, blogs, everything, putting all this content out there, and then not really seeing a lot of engagement. Maybe you've gotten crickets in the past where you just don't hear anything from anyone, and you're, many times working a full-time job at the same time while trying to build your side hustle, your business. And it can get pretty exhausting. It can get pretty tiring and frustrating. And just, we just start feeling a bit burnt out, after some time. And that's exactly how I felt early on, because I was trying to be everywhere, be everything for everyone. And I didn't have a strategy. I didn't have a good strategy. And because of that, right, I completely stopped, and that's not good either, right? But we just weren't seeing a return on the investment of time and energy. So one day I woke up and I decided, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and cut 95% of what we're currently doing and just focus on one thing, one platform. And that is, as we dive into this today, one of the key components that I want you to take away from our conversation today, that it's very important to be in as many places as possible, right? We want to be omnipresent. We want to be everywhere. However, there's a time and place for that. And for many people, right, it just doesn't make sense to do that. So as I was, creating all this content, putting myself out everywhere, I started to realize that, wow, like I'm doing this thing, but it's not quality content. I'm putting myself out there, but people aren't having conversations with me, and they're not turning into paying clients. And that's when I realized, you know what, I need to really cut down 95% of what I'm currently doing. And I have to figure this out. So what we did was we really simplified our content strategy, where we only posted a few times a week, 3 or 4 times a week on one platform, and everything started to change. Everything started to shift. Now, some of you might be in our Facebook group. Some of you might, follow us on Instagram. Maybe not. Maybe you have no idea who I am, and that's cool too. But now you'll start to see that, hey, wait a second, but Javi, you actually have a podcast. You are on Instagram. You are going to start a YouTube, which we are, right? You're going to be in all these places, and you're saying one thing, but you're doing something else. Well, this is after almost a year and a half, right, of focusing on one thing. And the results that we got from doing that, right, were exponential. And you don't have to wait a year and a half. It's just, what we did. And you can definitely, and again, there's a caveat here, which I'm going to dive into in just a moment, as into, when you can start to add more to your workload, because it is possible, and it is important, but it is important to know when that right time is. Okay. So, to sum that all up, when we discovered this content strategy, which I'm going to share a few of those components with you in the short amount of time that we have today. How much is it already? We're not 15 minutes into this, are we? No. Okay.
Time goes fast.
Time is flying. So, okay, cool. So again, content is very important. I think we all understand that, right? And let's see who we have here. Amanda, I don't love it when I'm in a slump. Yes. And those slumps are no fun. Let's see. Rochelle. Hi, Rochelle. Nice to meet you. Yeah, definitely. And that's one of the things that I struggle with early on too, is like, I really don't like putting out content, but it wasn't really that. It was, I didn't have the right strategy. I didn't have the right plan, the right process. And when you have those things, it makes it a lot easier. It makes it a lot more fun, and you actually get the results, right? So you can do it, right? You can do it wrong. you can waste a lot of time, a lot of energy, a lot of effort, or you can do it the right way, and you can help a lot of people, and you can grow a successful side hustle, successful business. So for those of you that are on right now, would you like to hear about the mistakes that we made early on and learn what not to do so you can get closer to learning what to do with your content, so you can grow the side hustle or business of your dreams? If you want to learn, yes, you do. Awesome. Say I do in the chat if you want to learn what the 3 mistakes are and how to avoid them when creating content. Let's see. Do we got some I do's in the chat? Elizabeth. Hey, Elizabeth. So good to see you. Beautiful. So mistake number 1. How many mistakes am I going to share today? 3. This is number 1. Okay. Mistake number 1 is not knowing why you're creating the content in the first place. I know it sounds overly simplistic, and I beg you not to tune out. Okay. But so many people, right, are putting out content for content's sake, and they don't understand why, right? Why are we doing it? What's the outcome that we're looking for here? And, for me, and again, it depends on the type of business that you have, of course, right? But if your intention is to be able to help people, right, serve as many people as possible, have a great impact on their lives, and also get clients from it so you can grow your side hustle, grow your business, because ultimately, we're doing these things to be able to make more income too, right? The money's important. The money's important to be able to fund the lifestyle that we want to live. So when we think about the content that we're creating, of course, we want to provide value, right? Of course, we want to educate people. We need to also realize that what we're doing with our content is building the KLT factor, right? The know, like, and trust factor. So with our content, the idea behind it is we want to make sure that we are building a relationship with the people that we're putting our content in front of, right? We want to make sure that people get to know us a little bit. They see that, hey, this person is just like me, right? They deal with the same things that I do. So they relate to us, and they also trust us as the authority, right? The authority in our field. And we do that in several different ways. We do that by creating content that entertains people, right? So they enjoy listening to you or reading your content. We do that by empowering people, making them realize that, hey, there is more inside of you. There's more that you can do. And there's solutions to the problems that you have that can really have an impact for the better in your life, right? We empower them to realize that you can do it because you can, right? Just like you can create content that gets you more clients. And number 3 is we have entertain, we have empower, and we have educate, right? So now when we think about educating the public, right, the people in our, the population of people we want to work with, a lot of the times we think of education as, oh, I'm going to go ahead and give people information, right? Information that we think is important and we know is important, but it's not packaged in a way that people can receive it. And they are just, they end up being lost. What's magnesium, what's sodium, what's all these different, what we call technobabble, things that only people in our industry know, but no one else understands. So when we're creating content and educating people, write these things down, okay? There are 3 stages of buyer's awareness, 3 stages, okay? So when we're creating content to educate people, we want to make sure that we're educating them on this, okay? So number 1 is we want to make sure that they are problem aware, okay? So education on their problems. Many people, it's crazy. So as a physical therapist, I work with a lot of people who had injuries, right? That's what we help people with. And there was this man coming into the clinic, and he came in for his shoulder. So he had crazy shoulder pain, but as he was walking in, I was analyzing his gait. So I was watching him walk and I noticed he had this major limp. Like he was literally walking around limping. And I'm like, hey, what's going on with, are you here for your hip? Started a conversation with him. He's like, no, it's my shoulder. And he's like, no, nothing's wrong with my hip. And I'm like, sir, are you sure? And he was like, no, my hip is totally fine. And he was totally confused. And I'm like, no, so you're walking with a limp. Like, did you fall? Did you get hurt? He's like, what are you talking about? Like, I have a limp? And I'm like, yeah. Like I was so confused and he was confused. So we were both confused. And I was wondering, I'm like, wait, you have to be kidding me. Like, he has no idea that he's walking with like a pretty serious limp, right? He wasn't aware that he had a problem. Like he wasn't aware he had a problem until I mentioned it to him. And I'm like, no, like you're like totally shifted and you came in here limping, like you have no pain. He's like, no, I have no pain. I had no idea, right? He wasn't even problem aware, even with something physical, like on his body, he didn't even know, right? So there's a lot of people, the people that you want to serve that aren't even aware that they have a problem until we bring it up. So one type of content we want to create is educational content that makes people aware that they have a problem that you can possibly solve for them. And that starts to open up that loop in their mind where they're like, wait a second, yeah, I do have this problem. And now they're more open to receiving the next type of content, which is content around the idea of being solution aware, right? So we have a problem. Now they have to know that, hey, there are solutions out there. We don't even have to tell them about our solution yet. One of the mistakes, and this is actually not one of the top 3, but one of the mistakes that we see so often is people talking about their product all the time, right? And if people don't know they have a problem, they don't even know that they have a problem. Well, they're definitely not going to want to buy a product because they're not aware. So the second one is solution. Hey, maybe you've tried this. Maybe you've tried creating 10 pieces of content, a day, posting 6 times a day, right? You've done all these things and it's not getting you far. So we start talking about the things that they've tried and the things that haven't worked. So that's solution aware. And the third one is product aware. So that's when they start to learn about what we do for them specifically. So I only have 5 minutes left. So I'm going to get into mistake number 2 and mistake number 3 pretty quickly here. Okay. Wow, time flies. Hopefully this has been valuable so far. So number 2, okay, is understanding this. Less is more. Okay, less is more. You want to promote more, and I'll tell you what I mean by that now, because I just said don't promote your stuff all the time, instead of creating more. Okay, so what I mean by that is, in the beginning, it's okay to throw spaghetti on the wall. We're trying to, test everything out and see what works. But over time, we really have to understand that we need to create intentional content, right? Content with a purpose, better quality content. And we want to send more people to that content, right? So it's better if we create one solid piece of content, right? Whether it's one video training, one lead magnet, right? Something that attracts the right people to you, one blog article, right? One blog post. It's better to create one quality one, right? If you're kind of, if you don't have too much time, and send as many people as possible to that one piece of quality content, right? That week, that month, than it is to create dozens of not great content, right? Because then they read it and they're like, oh, this is not that great. And then they don't want any more from you. So if we took all that time, created one piece of great content and focus on sending people to it, right, through whether it's email marketing, text message marketing, creating posts around that one piece of content, you'll actually get a lot more out of it. So this is actually a part of the content strategy that we teach and that we're going to be teaching inside of our upcoming challenge, actually, which is our content to clients challenge that's coming up next week. So, by the way, would anyone be interested in learning more about that challenge? If you are, just let me know. I think Katie might have the link to join, but yeah, if you're interested in finding out more details about it, it's good. It's happening next week. It's only $27, and we're going to cover this in a lot more depth. It's over 5 days. So if you want that, just go ahead and I think actually Katie put it down there, but if you're interested in it, just go ahead and comment challenge. If you have any questions, ask in the chat and I'll get back to you towards the end. But we're going to cover this in a lot more depth, and I'll show you what it looks like to send more people to that content. And number 3, because I think I only have like 60 seconds left, is not being consistent. Okay, not being consistent. And what we want to do is we want to make sure that, and this is where mastering one platform comes in. Remember how I mentioned, like, I see so many people on all these different platforms, which is not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing, but it's when we do it. So if being on multiple platforms causes you to be inconsistent on all of them, is that good or bad? Go ahead and put it in the chat. Is that good or is that bad? Right? It's not good. It's not good. We want to be consistent, right? So what I believe is, hey, if we have a full-time job, if you're building a side hustle or growing your business on the side, right? Is it better to focus on one platform and do it really, really well up to the point that you master it, you've systemized it, you've squeezed everything you can out of it, right? Maybe you've hired someone to help you manage it before moving on to the next one, right? That way you build on top of something you've already mastered, as opposed to stacking, lack of clarity over lack of clarity over lack of systems over lack of structure on top of each other. That's how we get to the point of overwhelm. We go crazy and we're like, oh, this all sucks. I don't want to do it anymore. And that's not what we want, right? We want you to be able to help as many people as possible. So to sum it up, okay, I strongly believe in choosing one main platform to start, get really good, really consistent at it. Once you feel like, okay, I've mastered that, I'm consistent with it, then layer on the next platform. Okay. And we'll dive into what those strategies look like specifically more in depth next week. But those are the 3 mistakes. Those are the 3 mistakes. Okay, we must be up. I'm sure we're out of time.
That's okay. That's okay. No, we are totally out of time. But I mean, that was awesome. I did chat as you were sharing the mistakes. I was chatting them in the chat so that way people can, capture them later. So I think this is really helpful to share with our audience, because I see a lot of dietitians who create such amazing content. And I'm like, oh my goodness, you should have a business and be making money for this amazing stuff you're creating. Yes. But I think you're right. A lot of these mistakes of just we really don't know what we don't know until that moment. So I'm really excited about the challenge you're hosting next week. I mean, only $27. I did drop my affiliate link below, and I'll share it more throughout the group. And if anyone's on my email list later, because I'm really excited about this challenge. I think it's going to be something really helpful to end the year in. I think I'm a big fan of not setting New Year's resolution goals, but I'm like, let's not fizzle out at the end of the year. Let's go all in at the end. So we end the year like make the end of the year the best part of our year. So I'm really excited for this challenge. And I'm really grateful, Javi, that you've been able to show up today and share all this information with us. And, definitely a great conversation to have, because creating content is a really important part of having a side hustle and, doing all this stuff. So yeah, thanks 100%. For being on.
No, thank you so much, Katie. This has been a blast as always. So thanks for having me.
Yeah. And thank you everyone for showing up. And again, if you watch this on the replay, comment replay below. If you guys think of any other questions later, comment them. I can get back to you. Javier, I'll get back to you. And yeah. And for anyone in the Facebook group, be sure to join me next week at 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, and we'll chat again soon. Bye, awesome. Guys.
Take care, everyone. Good night.
Bye. Thanks so much for listening to the podcast, guys. Be sure to head on over to the Dietitian Side Hustle website at dietitiansidehustle.com and check out our coaching page to learn about all the ways that we can work together. Have an amazing day, and I'm so proud of you for taking the initiative to listen to this podcast. Now go out there and get it done. Bye, guys.